What's up, nerds? Tyler Mack here from the 30&Nerdy podcast. And before you get to the video that you're about to watch, I have to stop you. I have to talk about something. That's right. This is an ad, but it's not just any ad. It's a manly ad. Support for 30&Nerdy podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best men's below-the-waist grooming around. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched its Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle, the Performance Package. Join me, along with 4 million other men worldwide who trust Manscaped with their exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with this code, 30ANP. That's 30ANP. Let me tell you a little bit about what's in the Performance Package 4.0 by Manscaped. It's arrived on my doorstep just the other day, and it is a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. And not just that, boom, they also sent me this. Thank you to the people of Manscaped for the shirt, for the package. It's phenomenal. And guess what? We've tried it out. I can't put into words how game-changing not just Manscaped, but this package is. I'm blown away by the performance. I think every nerd who's tried it has that horror story, so here's mine. When I was early 20s, I attempted to... Now, this was the days before Manscaped. Granted, I'm 32 years old. This was 12, 13 years ago. I know I can remember days before Manscaped and having to take care of below-the-waist needs for the guy. And all I had in the shower that day was a cheap knockoff brand hand razor. I know, just hearing the words makes me cringe, and I know if you've got this kind of story, this same story, you're cringing just as much. But now I don't have to worry about that. Now I have Manscaped. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. Thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology, the Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a 400K LED spotlight you need for more precise shave. Because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess in the bathroom floor. And you thought that was good. Want to take your grooming game even further to the next level? The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and ear trimmers. Those little ear hairs, as you start to get older, you start to get the nose hairs. No more plucking and pulling with your fingers or tweezers or anything like that. No. We got the Weed Whacker. Also, we've got the Crop Preserver, below the waist deodorant, and Crop Reviver. And let me say, I have a nerd podcast. I talk about nerd culture. I am friends with fellow nerds. Some of those nerds are so intense that they spend hours and hours and hours straight in a day playing card games, playing video games, all that fun stuff. And guess what they're not doing? They're not showering. They're not getting up and letting the undercarriage breathe. That's what this is for. The deodorant is fantastic, and it gives a great manly smell, a manly musk. That way you don't have to worry about ball swamp. Because let's just call it what it is. That's what it is. But don't take my word for it, nerds. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with this code, 30ANP. That's manscaped.com. Order your products and put in the code 30ANP. That's 30ANP. You're going to love Manscaped. I can guarantee it. But don't take my word for it. Go ahead and order yourself with the code 30ANP. Manscaped.com. Enter 30ANP. Cheers to you, nerds. And now we take you to your 30&Nerdy podcast feature presentation.
30&Nerdy's presenting sponsor and the home of all of the official 30&Nerdy swag is Advertising Expressions.
Juice, what would Superman be without the big S on his shirt?
Yeah. And what about Iron Man? What if he couldn't slap that Stark Industries logo on everything?
You know, Clark and Tony, they probably go to Advertising Expressions, like us, for all their advertising needs.
Oh, yeah.
And so should you.
And when you need your own symbol, like for work, church, school, a team of super friends maybe, check out Advertising Expressions. They can help you get your name and logo in front of as many people as possible, as often as possible, for as long as possible.
That's right. So whether you're a billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, or faster than a speeding bullet, check out Advertising Expressions at advertising-expressions.com.
Or give them a call at 423-586-3270.
And tell them the nerds at 30&Nerdy podcast sent you. Welcome, nerds. We are sitting down and speaking with Mr. Gary here, and this was just like a freak thing. I saw your tweet on Twitter about you had just finished working on Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever, and all I did was took the step and reached out and saw if you wanted to talk about your story. It was really inspirational to see your tweet, first of all. So why don't you just start us out with introducing yourself and just talking about a little bit about where it all began with you.
Yeah. Okay, for sure. Well, first, I just want to say thank you both for like allowing me to be on this and asking me to be a part of this. It's funny because actually, like maybe like a few weeks before I tweeted it out, like tweeted that tweet out, I had told my friend, because my friend, she was wanting to start like a podcast too, but I was telling her, I was like, I really want to be like on a podcast show. Like I really want to do that. I really want to do that. And I tweeted that out. And literally like a couple of weeks after that, when I tweeted this out, you guys reached out to me and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm manifesting this. This is crazy. This is awesome. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. I grew up in Dallas, Texas, but I was born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And literally like I've just like always wanted to be a part of like the film industry and stuff like that. And like I was telling you guys before, like I literally just moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And I was, my thing was like I really wanted to be a part of, the Marvel universe, which is like everything they do, like being on set, and learning just like how they do everything. And just especially just with Marvel, but then also with DC as well. And before then I was living in California. And a lot of what they were doing in California is a lot of just like a lot of the corporate work is happening out there. And I wanted to be on set where like everything was happening, and so that's what propelled me to move to Atlanta, to get into Marvel, to get into DC, and it just it worked out, which is really good. So I'm excited, and it just happened. It literally just happened, just finished. So I'm still getting out of like what's the word, I'm still on a high from it. I'm still on a high from just being on the set. Yeah, and then just seeing everything, like it was amazing.
Was this your first time on a set?
No. So like I started working on sets like maybe like professionally, like I don't know, like a year ago, like literally like this time this year. Yeah. Okay. This time last year. Yeah.
Wow. So one specific question that I had was like, being a production assistant on a Marvel film compared, or a Marvel set production, whatever the case may be, compared to any other thing, what are there any sort of unusual things? It's like, because it's a Marvel production, as a PA, I have to do this, or this type of thing that I wouldn't have to do on another production.
Well, okay, yeah. Well, so the thing about it is just like, one, like being really into Marvel and like being really into just like comics and stuff like that. Like I was just like, one thing I immediately noticed is that like when I was on the set, I was one more excited to be there. And I was like literally like, because I consider myself an introvert, and I would go up to people just all the time and be like, hey, what's your name? My name is Gary. Hey, what's your name? My name is Gary. Because I was so excited to be there. But I mean, another thing that was just different, obviously it was just like, how secretive it is, you know what I mean? How
Yeah.
secretive it is. And then also like just me like wanting to like be on my phone, like I'd be kind of scared to be on my phone like on the set, because I'm like, I don't know if like I just don't want people thinking that like I'm trying to like take pictures or anything. But no, but the thing about it though, it's very like everybody on that set was very chill, and it was but honestly, one thing too that I learned about it is just like it's not as different as you would think it would be with an indie film or just a smaller film. It's just in that, in that case. I think a lot of it was it's a lot of scrappy filmmaking, it's a lot of like,
I
hey,
think everything was already planned out perfectly, but it just goes to show, it's a big collaborative effort all the time.
yeah, most
At the end of the
definitely.
day, it's still a set. It's still a
Yeah.
movie set
Yeah,
without the label
no.
of it all.
Yeah, no, really. And everybody there, it was just like really, really fun to work with. And it was literally like it's literally one of my favorite sets that I've been on up until this point. Yeah.
So you were and mostly born in Fort Lauderdale, raised mostly in Dallas. And I'm a big Cowboys fan in the football world. So, and I've always wanted to see Dallas. But was there a lot of film happening around Dallas that kind of inspired you when you were growing up to be like, you know what, I want to do this?
Yeah. In was there a lot of film? It was a lot. It wasn't a lot of film happening. A lot of the filming that happens in like Texas, a lot of it happens in Dallas or in Austin. And I didn't start like getting into like actual filmmaking like in person with like friends and like getting them together until my junior year of high school. And that's when I started to really like, start taking it a little bit more seriously and started asking friends to, start making films with me and stuff like that. And then it wasn't until like Austin, after high school, where I went to Austin for like a year and I lived with my friends down there, where I started to really start, getting on sets as like a production assistant, and started to see like, okay, like this is how film sets are ran, and this is how like people make films. And I started like, see like how different people, make their films. Because when I was in high school, I was just kind of like asking people here and there to make films, and like kind of like getting a few getting a few dollars together to kind of get some food to order pizza with people and stuff like that. And like we were like filming for like a day or two. But then when I went to like Austin and I was like on like university, those UTA sets and stuff, I was like meeting like people who were like grad students who had like big budgets and like were doing their thesis films, and they were doing all these things with all and they were hiring all these people, and like they had all these rigs and dollies and stuff like that. And I was like, oh geez, this is this is cool, this is crazy. And so just with Texas, like with the whole like me getting into just film and stuff like that, like a lot of just like me getting on as a production assistant and seeing what they did in Austin really informed me to kind of like really start to taking it a little bit more seriously. And then I started to meet more people who were just into film just like me. And it wasn't, and I wasn't always like into like directing and filmmaking as well too. Like I think at the beginning I had told my aunt I wanted to be an actor, and that didn't really work out too much either. And it just kind of led its way into directing and producing and stuff like that. And just from there, and it's just like with comics too, like with superhero movies and stuff. Like it's like when you're into that kind of stuff, you meet people you just somehow end up meeting people who are just as passionate about that stuff. You know what I mean? Like even just today, like I was on Twitter. Even today I was on Twitter, and I got on it and I saw there was a new still of Doctor Strange with Elizabeth Olsen, and I was like, I'm just like scrolling, and I'm like, I follow so many Elizabeth Olsen fans, and I don't even realize it. I don't even realize it, and it's so great. But yeah, I hope that answered the question though.
That's actually how this podcast came about. Is we met in college almost 15 years ago, and realized really quick we had the same passions.
Yeah.
Film, comic books, professional wrestling, the entertainment aspect of it. And back in 2019, it was this guy who's just like, you know what, we've been talking about this stuff off and on, just sitting in a car for years. Let's do this podcast. And
Yeah.
so here we are. But so you move from Dallas and you come to Atlanta, and obviously Atlanta is where a lot is happening.
Yeah.
Not just in comic book movies, but it's almost like LA has kind of moved out to Atlanta, a lot of the production aspects. So how did you get the job?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So it was a long process. Like, so like how I told you guys earlier, like how I was doing production work out in California. Like this time last year, I was, doing stuff out in California. When I was down there, I was trying to like get into just like different production companies. So I was like, sending my application and application is into like Warner Brothers and Disney. And I was just like, I would apply to literally every single position that I could that I thought I could possibly do. And I remember I would like wake up like every morning and it would just be like a rejection letter. It would be like a rejection letter for like every single thing that I applied for. I think I even applied for a janitor position and they turned me down for that too. And I was like, dang crap, I'm not even good enough for a janitor position. And so it was that, like, it was all of those no's. And I was like, dang, like why is this happening? Like why am I not getting getting into these rooms? Or why am I not being given the opportunity to be working at these studios that I know that I could be working at? And I had at that time I had a mentor. Her name is Susan. She's really great. And she was literally like, she helped me like kind of get my resume together and just kind of make it really fit and show people like kind of like who I am and what I have to offer and stuff like that. And I remember I told her, I was like, hey, I wrote her an email and I was like, hey, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch it over. I'm gonna stay on set. I think that's just where I want to be. Like I feel like I want to kind of just I want to learn more about filmmaking. I want to learn, I want to be where the people are. I want to be where the actors are. I want to be where the directors are, what the producers are, and just kind of like learn in that aspect because that's what I want to do, and I want to start my own production company. I want to do all that stuff. So I feel like that would be really great for me to, learn all that stuff. And so I literally like on a whim, I just made that decision to kind of switch over to Atlanta. And I had been living in California for like 6 months. And I was on the phone with my dad. And I was just like, hey, I just think that like it would be best for me to move to Atlanta because it's cheaper. Then also I'd be able to, get onto DC sets. I'd be able to get onto Marvel sets and I would be in there, And so then I moved out to Atlanta in September. And before then I was like emailing people while I was living with my aunt in, I believe it was October. Was it October? What's the month that comes before September? Is it October?
August.
Is October? I was before that, before September. And so I was there. I was living with my aunt, and I was living in her 1-bedroom apartment. So I was like living in her living room on the air mattress, and I was just there for a couple weeks before I moved into my apartment in Atlanta. And so I was there, and I was just joining different Facebook groups. And I was just messaging people when I saw that they were looking for PAs in Atlanta, and I just jumped at every single opportunity that I could possibly find, that helped me get some set experience, set jobs in Atlanta too. But I was like, I still want to get on DC sets. I still want to get on Marvel sets. Like that was that's the main reason why I moved out here. Like that's one of the main reasons I moved out here. And so one morning, one morning I got up and I went on to IMDb. I went on to IMDb and I looked up different shows and different movies that I liked from DC and Marvel. And so I looked up like Stargirl, I looked up WandaVision, I looked up Infinity War. I just looked up all these different movies and I went down the credit list and I found the first AD for all of them. And I looked up the first AD and I emailed the first AD of every single show, every single movie. And I just kind of cold emailed them. I said, hey, my name is Gary. I would really like to be on set, da, 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 da. And then maybe like 10, 20 minutes after that, I got a call from the first AD of Stargirl. And she was like, hey, I really liked your email. I really liked your resume. Even on my on my resume, I put like my favorite shows. So I put like WandaVision, I put Wonder Woman, I put all these like comic shows that I really liked, all these comic movies that I really liked. And she was like, I really liked your resume. I would love for you to, day play and just see how you like it. And so that's how I got into Stargirl. And so then from there, after that, I a few weeks later, I saw on the Facebook group, I saw that this guy, his name is Adam, he posted that they were looking for PAs for the next Black Panther movie. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Like I want to do that. And so I emailed him and I was like, hey, I would love to do that. He said, perfect, got you. I'll write you down and I'll let you know. Maybe a week or two went by, I heard nothing. And I was like, dang, I was like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? And so I emailed him again. I was like, hey, do you know what's going on? He was like, hey, yeah, I'm so sorry. Like there's a whole bunch of different things happening with this film. And as you guys know, with just like with the things that are happening with the film, like it's all out, in the public with like, people getting injured and stuff like that, like, and like things happening. Yeah, there was just a lot of things happening with the film. So like, he was just like, there's a whole bunch of stuff up in the air. So I'll let you know. And literally there was nothing. Like I heard nothing from him after like a month or two. And I was like, dang, like maybe this isn't, maybe that's just, it's not meant to be. And so in between that, I was just on different sets. I got onto like, Wonder Years. I was on the Wonder Years for a while. And when I was on the Wonder Years, I met somebody who was literally, she was like, hey, I'm about to bounce. She was like, literally, I'm about to bounce because I just got a job on Black Panther. And I was like, no way. She was like, yeah. I was like, I've been trying to get a job on Black Panther for the past like 2 months. Like, what's going on? And so I emailed him again and I was like, hey, do you know what's going on? My friend just got onto the set. And then maybe 2 weeks after that, he messaged me back and he was like, hey, I just got on the project again. Are you available for these dates in this day and this day and this day? And I was like, I'm available for all those days. I was like, I'm available for all those days. And then from there, I got signed on and it was just, the rest is history. And yeah, that was a long explanation, but it was a lot of stuff that happened into that. So yeah.
So how long did you work on the set total, would you say?
I would say I worked on it for about 2 weeks. I worked on it for 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of second unit. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did it feel when you walked in on the first day and you just looked around? What was that like?
Okay. It was insane. Like when I first got there and I saw everything, I was like, we're here. Like in my head, I was like, we're here. Like we're here, like we're doing it. Like this is crazy. Like we're actually here. We're on a Marvel set. And I remember I went up to somebody, I went up to another PA, and I was like, we're really here. She's like, yeah. I was like, no, you don't get it. Like we're really here. Like we're on a Marvel set. And she was like, yeah. And she was like, Gary, I guess it's just I've been on. She's like, yeah, I mean, I've been on so many Marvel sets before, so I'm kind of used to it. And I'm like, oh my God, like no. Like no, but like it's crazy. Like when I'm there, I'm like, dang, like damn, like this is I remember when I was just like dreaming about like just being able to be on a Marvel set and like be able to be a part of that world. And like now I'm really in it. I'm in there, and so it's crazy.
That's awesome. That's really like, that's that feeling that everybody strives for, no matter like what occupation you're in, just that moment of, holy crap, I did it.
I've made it.
Yeah. And but the thing about it too is like, and I've been like telling other people about it, is like when I posted like, I posted that post on Twitter, and I also posted on LinkedIn as well too. I one thing that I tell people, when they ask, like how long did it take, what are what's some advice that you could give me? I tell them like, hey, like this is just the first stepping stone in me, like, in me wanting to get to where I want to go. Like I'm still not even like where I want to be as far as like being with Marvel. Like I still
Oh,
want
yeah.
to be, hired at like, the studio in Burbank, you know what I mean? And so, but this is just like really great. It was just a really great stepping stone in me, in me being involved, and me seeing like how everything is done, and being able to say, yes, I've worked on your sets before, and yes, I've worked within your company, and I know what this is like, and I know what, I know what you guys are looking for, and I know what these different terms are, and I know how you guys, get VFX together and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's really cool. So yeah.
So we know that some actors are wrapping up, their scenes. I mean, just as of yesterday, I was seeing that they're wrapping up with some people. So do you know, or can you say at sort of what point in the process we're at now? Is the release date of, what's it, November? Is that
November.
looking like that's going to happen?
Yeah, I
What can
think
you?
yeah. I think I think right now what they have is they have November 11th. I can't really say where they are with everything right now. But I know that the filming is going really well, and I know that that it's some really exciting stuff that they're doing, with the film, and I'm just excited for everybody to see, like, what they're doing and how it all. And I'm also just really excited to see how it's all going to come together, because being on set and just seeing it all, I know, like, even with just like the videos that they release with ILM on
Yeah.
YouTube and stuff like that, and seeing like all the behind the scenes videos, it's like you see like they have like the blue screens and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and seeing everything, how they kind of like digitalize it and they put it all in. um it's interesting just to kind of like, I'm excited to see like how they just like go in and just add everything and just
Yeah.
make like what it is. But
That would
yeah,
be considered the post-production process, right?
yeah, that's the post-production process. Yeah. But no, but right now I think they're still filming, but I could be wrong, I don't know.
We've
Yeah.
driven by the studios down there before, and there's this big, like, outdoor sound stage, big green screens and stuff. Pretty
Yeah.
sure that was where they did, like, in Homecoming. That was where they did the thing with the barge with Spider-Man
Yeah.
and the drones, and stuff
Mhm.
like that. I don't know if you can say, but like, did you get to spend any time out there in that little outdoor sound stage?
Oh yeah. No, yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. There was a lot of like outdoor sound stages that I was able to kind of like look at and see. I think one thing that, and just even going back to what you were saying about like the whole Spider-Man thing, I think going back to like just like watching like behind the scenes videos and stuff, and seeing that, like, how Spider-Man is, it takes place in New York, but literally on like they put like those green, green green
Yeah.
backdrops, and like they insert New York when they go and they put it in the VFX and stuff like that. All that stuff is like filmed in Atlanta, and so like you would never know. You would
Yeah.
never know that stuff is filmed in Atlanta, especially with that bridge scene in No Way Home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like all of that stuff, all those blue screens and green screens, they're so huge. They're
Yeah.
so huge,
Yeah.
and when you step onto those sets and you look around, you're like, geez, this is insane, you know?
I think when
But
we saw
yeah.
them, when we drove by, they were doing Ant-Man stuff. They were doing
Mhm.
stuff for Ant-Man 3. When we drove by, the stuff we saw was like lined up with the timeline for they were filming Ant-Man 3 stuff. So that got us
Yeah.
extra excited for, and obviously we just saw No Way Home, and with Doctor Strange 2 coming out, with that, we're always giddy with Marvel and DC content with the Batman.
Yeah.
But one question that we definitely wanted to ask is, what's the vibe been like without Chadwick? And is there a sense of keeping his spirit alive on set?
Mm. Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, it's so yeah and the thing, so being on the set, like I when I first walked in on the set, I was like, okay, where I'm here, we're doing it, and it was cool to see like all the characters, and it was cool to see different cast members, and it was cool to see the different crew members, and it didn't really hit me. It didn't really hit me until probably like until I was on set for one specific day of filming where I was like I was like, dang, like this is like I'm on the set of a film for a superhero, and the superhero is not here, if that makes any sense. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I was like this, and also one thing that somebody also told me as well is like being on the set. It was actually a health and safety monitor. She was like, hey, like the thing about this film is just like, or just any film, is like she tells herself, she's like, one thing I always remind myself when I'm on a set is like we're 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 making somebody's favorite movie. Like we're going to be making somebody's favorite movie, you
Wow.
know? And it's like I was just like, you're right. But then one thing about it too, I was just like, when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, we're on a set we're on a set of a movie that's going to mean a lot to people, and it's going to carry a lot of weight, especially with Chadwick not being here anymore. Like this film, this film is it's going to mean a lot to people, a lot to people, but it's also going to probably mean a lot to to his legacy, and his family and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it was definitely, it was definitely there with just, and especially when I first saw Ryan Coogler, when I
Mm.
first saw Ryan Coogler on the set, I was like, you know, I'm pretty sure, he has there's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of responsibility to go on and, make this film, especially without the lead actor in the film, and having to like, create a new, I don't know, like just
Spirit,
create a new
environment.
spirit. Yeah, create a new
New
spirit,
normal.
a new environment, but then also it's like now it's about like, how do you continue? How do you continue? And that's the thing. And I feel like that's the question that everybody has been asking.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
how do you continue this? How do you make it? How do you continue it? But also, how do you continue it in a respectful way that it respects what Chadwick did, but then also respect the audience and the people who fell in love with it.
It's like because the expectations are so high, but at the same time, nobody knows what the expectations are
Yeah.
Yeah.
because of this situation.
Yeah.
So
And especially with just like the first Black Panther too, it's like, it was like that film meant a lot to the Black community. That movie meant a lot to the Black community, and just seeing what that film did as far as just like numbers, but then also just like the inspiration that it gave to people. I can only imagine just like what the second one is going to do, as far as numbers and as far as just like inspiration and just hope that it'll probably give to people as well too. So we'll just have to see.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
Yeah.
what that's like.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys that what is y'all's opinion about the Batman? Did you guys like it? I know you guys were talking about it. What did you guys think?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I am happy as one of the running jokes in this show, not really joke, but one of the running things in the show is he's the Marvel guy, I'm the DC guy. We both thoroughly love both companies,
yeah.
but just like growing up, each of us leaned towards a different side. And Batman being a big reason that I've always been so loyal to DC is mainly because of Batman. I grew up loving the gritty aspect, and this honestly was the first time that I left a Batman movie going, that was dark. That was gritty, and that's what we need. I was like, he's supposed to be scary, gritty, dark.
Yeah.
It was like watching a dark graphic novel play out in live action. And that's what I wanted. And Pattinson, honestly, if you go back, like some of our first episodes years ago, when we started this podcast, I had a prepared statement on why Pattinson shouldn't be Batman.
Oh, really?
And it wasn't a personal thing. It was just like, because I'm
Oh,
kind
you took
of
it pretty personally. Let's be real. You took it pretty personally. You were
I
real
took it
hot about it.
personal because
You
I'm
were
just a
hot about
Bat
it.
fanatic, and we just had Affleck and Bale and you know, and there'd been a couple of misses throughout the history of Batman, obviously, and I thought this was going to be a miss, and I can honestly say I am so happy I was wrong because he did a phenomenal job in the role. He really.
Yeah. No, and it's fun though, because the thing about it too is that people, it's because it's like that a lot of the times when we hear that like an actor is going to be portraying like one of our favorite like villains or one of our favorite heroes, like there's always people are always skeptical about it. I think people were like that for Heath Ledger as well too, for the Joker.
I was.
Yeah. A lot of people were like, I don't know.
And then we to be the Joker.
You said what now?
I said he was too pretty to be the Joker.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
And then he was the best Joker of all time.
Not too pretty. Yeah, no, but yeah, people are very skeptical. But the thing about it too is that it's not even like personal though. It's not personal. It's just because it's just like people have such love for those characters and they just want to see them done right, And so I get it 100% when there's like skepticism about it. It's just like, they just want it done right. And honestly, at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want it to be good. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And it definitely was really good. It was fantastic.
Did y'all like do you like Zoe Kravitz as a Catwoman?
Yes, I said in our last episode that she's now my favorite.
Yeah,
now
really.
My favorite rendition of the Catwoman, what she brought to the role, the power, the soul, the somewhat haunting loneliness.
Yeah,
that was something.
Yeah, the look for sure was perfect.
Yeah, no, yeah, she brought, and that was one thing too also that I had like said as well too when I was like talking to my friends about like the differences in the differences in the way that Catwomen have been portrayed in the past. Like I was telling them Michelle Pfeiffer's or just like Eartha Kitt's Catwomen. They're very playful, like they're very, very playful. Like, they're like, let's have some fun. And Hathaway's is very like, like I'm very like I'm tough. Like we need to like this is what we're doing. Like I have to do this. Versus Zoe Kravitz, where it's just like hers is like coming at it from a like place of pain. Pain and just like I want to get the hell out of here. Like I don't even want to be here. Like I'm just like I'm hurting on the inside. You know what I mean?
We talked about how a lot of the reviews came out. It was like, oh, this is such a dark Batman, and we're like, well, yeah, it's Batman. Like nobody's going expecting to, have a party or anything like that. Yeah. So it's definitely not a feel-good movie, but
and I think great. a lot of like people who lean towards the Marvel, and I'm not trying to turn this into a nerd court, but I think they're also going to be shocked with Moon Knight because it's going to go into a dark direction that I don't think a lot of MCU fans are prepared for. And I think they'll probably say the same thing about it that they do about Batman normally. It's just, if you're looking for a family-friendly Marvel movie or show, this isn't it. And to which I would say it's Moon Knight. What did you expect? Marvel's Batman. It's dark. It's gritty. It's scary. And that's probably my biggest thing about it is some of the reviews that came out is people saying if you're looking for a upbeat, bright family movie, the Batman is not it. And I'm like, well, it never should be. In my opinion, it never should be.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, like that you say that too about just like Moon Knight too, because like what the MCU right now, like they're slowly getting into that direction, which is like making their films just a little more like, well, not even making their films a little bit more darker, but just the characters that they're bringing and the worlds that they're creating now are becoming a little bit more darker, especially with just the introduction of Blade coming in, and then with Moon Knight coming in, and then possibly, hopefully, one day, Ghost Rider popping up one day, and so it's just like we're getting into that, and especially with Doctor Strange, I think Doctor Strange is supposed to be a little bit
much darker.
Too. Yeah, it's supposed to be
a darker tone.
Yeah, and I think especially with Sam Raimi directing and like him directing Evil Dead, like I'm ready for just like whatever they have to throw at us. So it's gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be fun.
You speak of Evil Dead. If you'll not just do us a favor, but we actually, if you'll scroll back in our episodes to our month of October episodes, we have a sit down about Evil Dead with a friend of ours who worked on the project. You should go. Yeah, the original Evil Dead with Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi. He worked on the project. So you should go back and check that episode out. He had a lot of insight.
Yeah, we live very close to where they filmed all the Evil Dead.
You're kidding. You're lying.
By a couple miles. We can drive by it.
Y'all lying. Y'all no.
Come into town sometime and we'll take you on a tour of the Evil Dead site.
Oh gosh, I literally when I watched that movie, when I watched Evil Dead, I was watching it and I paused it at maybe like in the middle of the movie, and I was like, I don't know if I would have been able to be on the set, because my gosh, jeez, this is so much, but it's crazy. And then also just watching the movie too and watching Evil Dead and being like, oh my gosh, if Sam Raimi brings some of these horror elements into Doctor Strange, bro, God, it's gonna be great. So we'll just have to see, but definitely I'm gonna check out the episode. That's gonna be
absolutely
amazing. Oh my God,
absolutely. His name's David Horton. He's actually in the credits of the movie. He's been a friend of ours for years. We've done theater with him up here, off and on. He's a brilliant mind, and he just you get the story of how he got involved with it, and there's some stories from the set, how some things were done. You should definitely check that episode out.
I will. Oh my God, pretty good. Congratulations to y'all. That's amazing. That's so cool.
It was a lot of fun.
Gary, thank you so much for joining us. We are just so thrilled that you were willing to take the time to come on and talk to us about your experience on the set, and we're thrilled for you that you got to live your dream out, and hopefully there's a lot more to come. And definitely, for sure, want to catch up with you again once the movie comes out, so we can talk in a little more detail. Really, really looking forward to it.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Thank you, guys.
And please let us know if any other dreams start coming true. If you get to start working on some other comic book film sets and even outside of comic book films, we love things more than just comic books. So please let us know if there's any other projects that come up. It really was very uplifting getting to talk to you and hear about your dreams coming true. It really was. Thank you.
So much, guys. Thank y'all. Thank you, guys.